Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Trash Told You. I am the man, the myth, the legend, Trash Told You. Surprise, Trash Told You, says was. I did announce on the Patreon, and yeah, I guess I did put it in the public, did I? No, I wasn't sure. It was one of those I thought about doing it this morning, but I honestly just had time to, kids are away, and just want to spend some time with Emily and whatnot. So, as I've said, this month has been kind of hectic for when the Trash Told You start. As I've said before, next week there will not be one. Maybe I didn't, but I did say I think the week of Hogwarts Legacy and You and everything like that. So next week, no Trash Told You, and there might be a couple other ones. There's a project we're hopefully working on. I'm very close to completing it, and GeekVerse and patrons, you'll get to know what that is. But there might be a couple weeks. I'll announce in probably late February, March of Trash Told You. I think I said this before. There might be the odd one I'm going to jump. But next week for sure, no Trash Told You, because we got Super Bowl, Last of Us, You Season 4, and Hogwarts Legacy all within 3 days. So it's just a lot of gaming, a lot of watching, stuff like that. So I will be busy. I won't have time unless something massively big happens, but I just literally have to spend time getting that stuff done. So all stuff I love. It's going to be fun, everything like that. But it's something that I want to make sure that happens. So let's see. I'm back. I think I guess I did two. I don't know. It's been all over the place and whatnot. So I apologize that there's not a consistent Trash Told You schedule. That's why usually on Patreon just say, hey, send me questions next 24 hours. Didn't get any questions today because I posted pretty game time, like, oh, it's coming, very soon. So, but that's okay. Got some topics, and that's okay if it's a smaller one, because lots of podcasts that come and lots of podcasts that has happened. As usual, you know what to do. The links are down below for everything to support us. Go to Patreon. That's the biggest thing, because obviously it helps us. It helps us grow the channel, new shows and stuff like that. But we got Evil Dead Retrospective there, John Wick 3, X-Men Retrospective Season 2, the first half. Lots of things are on there. And as I said in The Last of Us, I was making our 2024 recording schedule, because we do these mass record days. And I think they're working out. They're good. They are. I feel like, and people, maybe they could let us know, but I don't feel like, luckily, the quality has gone down at all in them, because it's okay. You're going to be podcasting for 4 to 5 hours straight. How's it going to happen? There's been times where we take food break in between, but I think the good thing is that we're recording a variety of things. Like when we record X-Men, Evil Dead, and John Wick all back to back, they feel so different that you don't feel like you're like, okay, just X-Men. You freshen up because you take that break, you stop, and then it's on to something new, and you got new opinions and new thoughts and stuff. So, and it's not our first rodeo. We did that for E3s. We've done that for Comic-Con and stuff like that. And those were some of my favorite. Those were some of my favorite days. They still are. I don't know why I said were, but I guess were, because they don't happen anymore. I love still we do them online and stuff like that, but now Dylan's moved away, and it's always easier for us to meet over the interwebs and whatnot. But I love when we'd be in Dylan's basement just for like 6 hours in E3, eating pizza, watching this. It was a good time. I do miss some of those days, but it's just something we couldn't do now because it's just we got more things that added to our lives and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you to everybody that will listen. We got Ant-Man coming up, lots of good things coming up, and thank you everyone listening to DC Cast. That's I don't think anything's gonna. I'm interested to see. I think Ant-Man will beat it, I guess, because Ant-Man has a bigger audience, but it did very well for usually new casts have like we always know like what the general newscast topics do and then like what a big topic does, and it did like what a big topic did, probably I think ranging on the higher side, so that's always good. So a big thank you to everyone supporting us, and I hope your new year's going well. I guess it's a month in, but still, hopefully the first month went well. But yeah, I don't have a plethora of stuff to talk about, more just little side things that have come up as far as conversation or rumors. So going to talk about this Ben Affleck thing up top. Going to talk about Mangold. That has happened since we did the DC News Link. And there's also the slate that kind of leaked, and we'll talk about because it kind of shows the order of things if it all goes well and stuff like that. Going to talk some Marvel rumors, some more Fantastic Four, Dev Patel in the running for some stuff, some other news, and then end off with some wrestling talk and everything like that. So as I said, since watching The Invisible Man, I've recommended to like 10 people. What a movie. Oh yeah, that's a fantastic movie, man. But both James Wan and Lee Winnell, they know how to do some stuff. You should. I'm not saying it's as good as Invisible Man, but definitely go check out Upgrade that Lee Winnell directed before. And I don't know what he's doing next. I feel like he's definitely working on something. I feel like there's rumors he was working on a Wolfman project with Gosling, and it was gonna supposedly be like Nightcrawler meets uh Invisible Man meets like werewolf or wolfman, whatever you want to call it. So also I suppose, I'm not sure if you've seen it, Nightcrawler, that's another great one. So I know I saw you're starting your list of cinematic universes that failed, but obviously tons of great movies out there. And yeah, I had a fun day. We hung out. I did a lazy day because it's honestly, I haven't had one in a while, and it was a lazy day, but it was, to break the fourth wall. We have hired an accountant, which is kind of crazy. And man, like I'm very happy. We're a small business, and I'm very happy because you guys and gals and everyone in between have gotten us to this point, and we've gotten it now that we can grow and do things and make moves, and just we can expand. It makes our lives better, and I'll always be appreciated. So don't take it as like me complaining like, oh, I'm not grateful. Completely grateful. Just when it's that year end of, hey, get every single thing, receipt, invoices, it's just like, oh, it was a lot. So literally my day was we were watching movies, and it was just downloading and everything. And there's just stuff where like I'm not the most, because at one point we were talking about us doing the taxes, and we looked at each other like, you know what, we're in too deep here. They're like, I just don't want to make any mistakes. So we've luckily, and same thing, you guys, a big thank you. You guys like the the Patreon and listening. You guys are paying for our account that we desperately need, because that's like an area I've never really had to do. Each of my life, I've been lucky to have great women that my mom did my taxes, and then Emily's a killer at them. But even now, it's like, hey, for the businesses, like that's a whole different ball game. So my day was, I watched before I guess the main topics. I watched You People. That was like, I've heard from everybody how like mid and disappointing that was, and everything they said was true. Like everything I heard about that, there's some fun moments, and I've said this where I think it says in my letterbox, like if you like the cast, there'll be something for you. And there is some moments where I think, oh, that was funny and I had a good time, but oh, my camera is super unclear. My camera's been fucking crazy lately. I gotta find a certain way to fix it. It's just with the autofocus been off the yin yang, but there's some good jokes in there at times, but they hit you with trying to be like a Apatow, Seth Rogen type of comedy, or like Jonah Hill comedy back in the day. And then there's times they get super serious about race, and I got what they were going for. It just did not work. So there was that. I watched Pamela. That was an interesting doc. I know most of the story, but obviously not from her side. One thing I think I took from it that I never taken before, that like Pamela Anderson just seems like a cool person, like I'd like to hang out with and talk to. So if you're interested in that story, I'd watch that, because it's a great kind of flip of the tale of like how, hey, all that stuff we've seen in her, and there's a TV show, well, look at the flip side and how much anxiety can really drive someone. And like even just the late night talk show jokes and stuff like that, where you don't really think about that, right? At times you just kind of forget. So, and then watched Babylon again today. That was great. We watched it again today because it's on VOD. Emily did not get to see it because just Christmas and everything like that. And her review was 25% good story, 75% terrible. So I have a divided household now on Babylon. But it's one of those things that I'm not like, oh, I'm not surprised. But she loves Whiplash, loves La La Land. But it fits that narrative, right? Of it's a love hate movie, and I pretty much settled on the same likes and dislikes I had with it. So yeah, that was my weekend of being a little bit lazy, relaxing, but still always working. Like I've always there's very few times where I think today for 1 hour Babylon we made some popcorn, sat down, ate, and then that was my only just like free time, even on the weekend. So I'm excited because I got a 4-day weekend coming up here. So still need to see Babylon, absolutely yes, Bubs. And that's a movie where I don't know where you'll fall on that one because I feel like everybody falls a different way and everything like that. Hey, Smexy Travis, thank you, Derpy. I don't know if Smexy is a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll take it. But yeah, so, or if you're trying to spell sexy, I also appreciate that too. So let's talk about this Ben Affleck thing. So let's go back a few months. James Gunn has that thing with Cavill, and again in these threads where he lets Cavill go in this thread, he's talking about Affleck, like, oh, he might direct again. It's just like, man, you let him go, you're talking about other people, but that's fine. So that happens, right? And then it had come up again that in this press junket, because it was fun. I was on Vodka Stream this week, and there's 3 people on there that had been in the press room, and things that they said that they talked about that weren't articles or just kind of stories that you got different versions of that people didn't write. And they talked about, and not just them, other people have too, talked about like Affleck did come up again as far as like the ideas for him to direct something. We just don't know what. The world is going crazy right now with Ben Affleck Emmy or Grammy memes. It's just poor guy. He's a meme machine. You gotta love it and stuff like that, right? Um, so all this happened, and then you have a lot of people, and it's tough because it's a mix of, you have people that I know are just fans, people that are like not scoopers, but they hear some things, and then people that are like not scoop like A tier, but like C tier. I'd say more like C minus C tier. And there was like this trend going around Twitter this week of like dropping a picture of Ben Affleck with eyes and stuff like that. And it reminded me a lot, actually. It gave me flashbacks to that happened around the time the Spider-Man deal was going to be re-announced, when it got put out, and then everyone was dropping those like gifs and emojis, and then the deal got re-announced and everything, right? So it's like, oh shit, what do I not know? But I looked, and there was not a big source of, okay, where is it coming from? But the narrative seems like a mix, and I don't know if it's more rumor, more narrative, or a bit of both. I feel like it's more narrative, and I think it's just like what he's done. But if the general feeling is, okay, if Affleck directs, he's going to be directing The Brave and the Bold. So I want to start with just that up top with Affleck. I would love it. I was just talking about this vodka stream where it's so funny that everybody on there was talking about, hey, I did, like, back in the day, I did not want Affleck, thought about, liked it, saw BVS, loved him, right? And he's told the story on GeekVerse when we started, and even before Kyle, who used to be on Dynamic Duo, and hopefully we'll get him on After 9 or something in the future. He might be moving back in my same time zone, so you might get to see Kyle a bit more for you OG people. I'll be excited. Me and him we worked at Best Buy at the time. The news went throughout there, and we had a pretty geeky group at Best Buy at that point of like similar genres, film stuff like that. And the news went around, and I remember everyone being blah, not liking it, and me and Kyle were like, "This, no, I'm down. Like, I like this. Like, it wasn't like, oh, this is the best casting ever. I wasn't saying like the way what I thought Oscar Isaac should be Moon Knight. No, but I was like, okay, I see the vision. I see what Affleck's done in the past to why he could get to this point. So, did I forget my water? Oh, there it is. Water drink. I liked it, but the main thing why, and I talked about this because there was one of my friends, Keegan, who he was on only one episode Dynamic Duo. Loved Keegan before he moved, and now that we're virtual, I should get him on. He's just a comic book knowledge, a really good, smart guy. And we work together at Best Buy. I gotta hit him up. I haven't talked to him in a little bit, but that's what happens when you get older in lives, right? But I remember him being like kind of mad, but how I sold him and why I was more excited on it is, okay, Ben Affleck is Batman. I like the choice. It's fine. Like I said, not even like, but just like I approved. I was like, okay, I can see him being a great Batman, right? Or even a good Batman. Especially this was not hey, this is gonna be Batman Nolan style with a trilogy. This was gonna be what we thought was Batman and crossovers. I'm like, okay, you don't need the strongest actor. And luckily, I approved the choice. And when he went to go do BVS, like, oh, he was fucking great. He was the best thing about that movie. So the main thing though, why I was like, okay, him as Batman, not my first choice. There's many other choices around that time I like, but him as Batman, sure, I can get on board. But why I can really get on board is because I and all of us should want this man to direct. Whether it's Batman, there was him directing Justice League rumors at the time. If we can get him directing a DC movie, that is a huge win. This is him coming off The Town and Argo, where he just won. Well, I guess he didn't win the director, but that won Best Picture, right? And huge. So he was like the hot shit at the time, and he was making great stuff. Live by Night, that's fine, but the rest of the stuff, Gone Baby Gone, The Town, um, Argo, there you go, S-Bubs. You should do Affleck watch along soon, or watch all those, because great. And even Live by Night, good movie. Like, he's fucking so good. And I hate that Live by Night came out, didn't do the greatest, it wasn't received the greatest. He had a lot of troubles in life, and he still hasn't directed anything. So it's funny that all I wanted was, hey, if we could get him direct a Batman movie, that's fucking awesome. And now here we are years later where, hey, he could direct a Batman movie. But to start where I was trying to get to the whole time is with Affleck. There's been so much stuff going on. It's hard for me to believe it until that movie is on set shooting. Even if they announce it, it's hard for me to believe that's going to happen. You know why? Because we've been here before. We're going in circles. He was supposed to direct The Batman with himself. And then while he's no longer directing, he's going to, he's going to star in it, right? He would play an 8 for Matt Reeves. And then he's no longer starring, but he's going to have like a hand and produce it. He didn't produce shit. Like he went from having everything involved to nothing involved. And that's fine because he's told the story. Oh, excuse me. I had a hiccup right there. He's told a story that, like, for his health, it wouldn't have been good if he did that movie. So awesome. I don't need him to do Batman if it's for his health. So just directing DC alone, period, it's hard for me to swallow that bullet until, I don't know why I'm swallowing a bullet, but it's hard for me to get on board with, not on wanting it, just to think of it actually happening. I'm not as confident as other people. And I know people are talking about there's great names. We're going to talk about Derpy. I see some of your suggestions. I'll talk about some of those I'm going to talk about Mangold next. So that Air Jordan movie is directed by and starring Affleck, dropping April. I might do an Affleck marathon before it releases. Yeah, I honestly, I keep forgetting that, and that's what I'm very excited for. Is just for him to direct again, which obviously he's doing. That's I want to see who. I thought it was him and Damon wrote it, right? And I want to see some of the cast, but that's what I want. It's just him to direct. DC or nothing. I don't give a shit. Just direct. He's a fantastic director. And really, to me, I know Ang Lee won for Life of Pi and whatnot, but like, he should have won for Argo. He fucking deserved it a bit more, in my opinion. But let me see here, because I don't even know the name of this movie. I just know it's like it's called Air. Okay, director. Yeah, and there's other ones. Witness for Prosecution, Law Keeper of Lost Cities. Those have been talked about for a while. But yeah, 2016, 2016. So it's been almost 10 years. So let's take a look here. Yeah. So he didn't write it. Oh, I forgot he was starring in it too. Affleck, Damon, Bateman, Viola Davis. Holy fuck. Chris Tucker. Yeah, this is Marlon Wayans. This is going to fucking kill, in my opinion. I think this is great. So I didn't even know. It's just it's been so under the radar, I feel, as far as like him, like this movie and stuff like that. And that's fine. That's what I think he needs. I'm happy to see him and Damon back together, because Damon and him, like, it was a big deal, right? And yeah, I suppose I have seen that the Amazon paid $7 million for a trailer, and it's gonna get a theatrical. Very fun, very exciting. I remember when they announced that, hey, Affleck and Matt Damon are getting back together after all this time. It's like, for The Last Duel. It's like, great. What's The Last Duel about? Well, it's a sexual assault drama where these two men have to fight to the death till one of them proves if they're right or wrong. I was like, oh, like, happy to see Matt Damon and Ben Affleck back together. And another thing, I'm not sure if you've done a bunch of Clerk watches. Everybody, if you've not, and I grew up in that time, right? 90s kids, like, I was starting to become like a teenager in the late 2000s. Like, Kevin Smith, Matt Damon, and Affleck, they were the bromance of the decade, the 2 decades, you know? So I always I want to see them in something more fun, and I feel like something like Air is going to be a lot more fun. So I can't wait for that. This is going to happen. It's going to come out. We'll see how it does. And maybe that's why. And he's smart, I think, because I joked about this on Vodka Stream, where this gets announced, and during the whole Air tour, he's going to just get asked about Brave and Bold. That's what happened by Live by Night, and he fucking hated it because no one would talk about his film. That would be very smart for them to hold off to this. I also think there's a chance they hold off till he sees what else happens with Superman and other films, right? So him directing DC, I won't believe it till he's on set doing it. I just really won't. That's what it takes for me to believe it. So I'm excited for Air, excited for that. Now, would he do Brave and the Bold? And that's create a whole bunch of conversation, right? Like, well, if he does it, he could also star in it. Technically, it would be. If you're asking me who I would want back, it honestly would be Ben. Like, if I could have a dream choice for that role, it would be Ben, because I loved Ben in the role. I had problems with some of the writing of the character, but I loved him as Batman, and him as an older Batman. Now the Flash resets everything. So I think James Gunn has said, the Hollywood Reporter, I think last week reported. Like, there's been additional reports that come out and said Superman's going to be somewhere around 25 and Batman will be a couple years older. And I guess that works, right? Like, technically, because let's say even if he's training with Ra's and Talia, he could be there when he's 16, 17, like 16, and he has a kid with Talia, right? And it goes away. And what, let's say if Robin is 12 at that point, so what, that would get Bruce to about 28. So, and then that's a couple years. So I think even 30, like, all has to be as like a mistake pregnancy. There's other versions of the origin, but there's origins where they kind of use like a Scott. Some of this when check out Vodka Stream this last week. It was a fun one, but how, and the one I'm less affiliated with as far as like he's like almost like a test tube baby. Either way, even if Affleck's supposed to be like 50s, 60s, whatever in the Batman, the Flash resets everything. You can reset his age. There's something very fun. I think Affleck would be great at having a child with him now. That is Batman who kills. So, but you could use it as like, I used to kill, it was wrong. I don't want you going down that path. It's very easy to use because people do say like, and I do agree, if you go new, you need a Batman that doesn't kill, right? So that's the tough thing, is like, is he going to direct a Batman movie and not star in it? I don't know. So apparently Air is going to release in 3,000 theaters, like many theaters as a Marvel movie. That's great. Amazon should do that more. Netflix should do that more. I think Netflix literally walked it back and said, no, it's not happening. So I don't know. It especially after Glass Onion, when they didn't report it, but other people like third parties said like Glass Onion did really well for just being in the theaters for like 5 days. Like, there's some movies you should lead with. MJ said it would be really cool if this phase 1 of DC more focused on the core jail members rather than telling lesser known DC characters. That's up to you. I'm down. I like the slate the way it is. We talked about, but I like that you have the core. Like, to me, if you're looking at it, and I'll quickly address this before we get into it. Derpy, I know you're a lot. I think you've said this before. A lot of people say on this internet. Jensen Ackles as Batman? Absolutely not. I am nowhere near anything like that. And Derpy, come on, you don't need to say that. That's not nice to be other people. I'll put you in a timeout. He can have his opinions. That's fine. MJ can have his opinions. I don't think he's necessarily wrong, but I can just disagree with it. But yeah, Ackles, I don't think his Batman voice sucks in the cartoons. I don't think he's that strong of an actor. Would not be a fan of that. I think that's a pretty low one. So. But what was I gonna say? The phase of 1 of DC should be more focused on jail core members. I think the good thing is, MJ, you have Batman, obviously gonna be a core member. You have Superman, gonna be a core member. You got Paradise Lost, where Wonder Woman's not there, but you're gonna get the effect of Wonder Woman, right? I imagine Hal or John will be a member of the JL. So you have, even if it's just those 3, if the members are like 6 to 7, you have almost half of them being focused on. And what else do we got? I got to bring up the actual slate here again, because I'll be talking about it with the leaked photo, because there was a photo that came out that was leaked of the actual boardroom and whatnot. Oh, where was it? There it is. So what's the other thing? Waller obviously not going to be a part of the thing. Paradise. Yeah. So, and Supergirl honestly could be like, do you want 2 supers on the team? Maybe not. So I could see your case, MJ, as far as like, hey, more members, but at the same time, I think we will get a chapter 1 JL movie. But the thing is, they've said this is half a chapter 1, right? I could literally see that the next half is more of those members. So let's wait till we get the whole slate. This is half the slate. And right now we have 3 members, I'd say, getting focused, and even Wonder Woman in a sense, number 4, right? So like Paradise Lost and stuff. So we'll see. Nakia says the fact that they skipped Sundance and other festivals and are going straight to theaters, such a short promotion time, seems like they're pretty confident the film Ben made. I would be too. Like he's Ben Affleck and stuff like that. Nikita too, you're spelling S-Bubs wrong. You call him Shubs, not S-Bubs, Shubs. I didn't know they were releasing the trailer Super Bowl because most films are releasing promos for mainstream blockbusters. They are, but the 2 things are, Amazon has money to burn, and even though it's football versus basketball, that's a place to release that. I feel like it's an older, same way as like Indie should be released. There was another one too. Like, I know Indie's just rumored right now, but that's a mistake. The demographic that watches football is all over the place, but you have a huge like older demographic as well. So Indie should be there. And I think Air is smart because you have people like myself and a little older that grew up in that Matt Damon, Ben Affleck time. So you see them together, and about Air Jordans, basketball, everything like that. I know it's not a basketball movie, but it's like a sports type of movie. So I actually think it's smart, especially like for Amazon. If it was Warner Brothers, who like is struggling with money right now, no, maybe not. But Amazon, they can do whatever they want, right? So everything back to Ben Affleck doing this. And we're going to talk about that after this first ad break. And we're back. So let's say, and I just want to look at the slate quickly. Let's see here. Superman Legacy. I don't think, I'm just going to say, like, what else could Ben direct? Let's say it's this, because like I was talking about with MJ here, maybe there's another chapter 1 project that Ben would want to work on, but it's not announced, right? Superman Legacy. I think that's not going to happen. And Espab's brought this up. Go check out our Discord. You're getting lots of play tonight, Espab, so, you're welcome. But no, he had brought up that he could see Affleck doing a lot of TV. That I could believe. If someone were to say, hey, he's going to direct an episode of Waller, Booster Gold, or something, or Lanterns, I'd say, okay, yeah, that I can buy. It's more a 2-hour, big budget DC property. That's the tough one for me to buy. But Swamp Thing, obviously, we're going to talk about that in a second. No, that's not going to happen. Supergirl, I think there's a chance that goes to Muschietti the same way. It's tough because I feel like Muschietti's going to have his choice. I've seen a lot of people be like, he's not going to do Brave and the Bold. Why wouldn't he? He's working on a film with 2 Batmans, and he's known as a guy that works very well with kid actors. Why wouldn't he? And like, sure, it's like, it's flat. Like, and I agree, he could go do Justice League, but it's also like Brave and Bold, Batman. Like, that's still a big character. And this is the first time with his son as Robin. Like, I think there's tons of potential there. So I think Muschietti, he could do Supergirl or Brave and Bold. And that's where the other one on here is the Authority. Depending how big they want to go, maybe. That could be something Affleck could do. I don't think so. I think that would be too big. I don't think he's going to be doing a team-centric sort of movie. I feel like the team is just Batman and Robin. That's enough of a team. So I'm down for the choice, especially because he's a great director. He's a name that if they announce that after Air comes out, perfect. Way to go. And again, like if you have Mangold doing Swamp Thing, Affleck doing this, that's a huge crop of talent. And if they're going to be directors doing the director's vision and not the, hey, you have a complete script, do it, then it's a big win for them. It separates themselves from Marvel. So could I see it? I'm below 50% right now. I need more. What I need, and the thing is, I need to see, we're going to get that with Air. And somebody, and he's going to get like it, but someone's going to ask, hey, what about these rumors? And I really depend, and you can go back and watch that. I'll play Ape on the ground for Matt Ape and stuff like that. We know his poker face. I think we kind of know when he lies. I want to see what his response would be if he get asked, hey, you gonna direct a DC movie? I think we'll know, and I think it might be up in the air, but I'm still gonna say no for now. Yeah, I suppose I got the list right here because I shared it with GeekVerse because I was like, oh, big day. So the trailers right now are The Flash. Supposedly these are all the trailers. The Flash, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Fast 10, Little Mermaid, Elemental, Scream 6, Transformers Rise of the Beast, Quantum Mania, which I don't think they need to spend that money. It's almost out. I get it. It'll be a quick spot, but still. And then the 2 ones that are more rumored are the Marvels and Indiana Jones. I think if they don't have Indy on there, that's a huge mistake. I was talking about with Emily, like, I have my parents who are fans will probably see these movies. If they don't have Indy on there, big miss. I think paying for Quantum Mania over Indy is dumb. I get it's the Marvel machine, but come on now. So we'll see. But yeah, and that's the thing. Maybe we're at a disadvantage. Maybe Affleck's directing something in chapter 1 that we don't know about. But as far as the list here, I don't see anything. It's Brave and the Bold, great, but it's just hard for me to believe when he also has, like, again, we just listed 2 other projects that he could be doing. And he also announced that he's doing the studio thing with Matt Damon, where it's like more of the creators get money, right? So it's just like, I just feel like he is, and there's these rumors still that he's going to be Daredevil in Secret Wars, and he might play a villain in Marvel. Like, he's been rumored for so much stuff. And I think I just take it as Affleck takes a lot of meetings. He talks to a lot of people because he's a talented guy. And people want to work with him. And I think if Air hits, people are going to be very excited to work with him even more so because, like, he's back. Great director's back. So, yeah, I'm excited for Air. Excited to see what happens. But I don't, I still don't see it. I have a hard time. So we will see. But I guess what I am going to be seeing is James Mangold's Swamp Thing. So I keep going the wrong way for my water. Uh, so, day after, Slate comes out, everything. Um, Mangold posts a tweet, and I had mentioned this on the GeekVerse breakdown of it. I had been told by two people that, hey, they already got a director. That one of them did not reveal who it was to me, and I knew they knew, the bastard. But it's fine. They got the sources, and I was always like, okay, and I didn't pry. I don't do that. When people say, hey, I got info, but I can't tell, it's the same thing as me. I'm not going to say shit. But I've been told by two people, hey, they already got a director. And the only thing I got told, luckily by this friend, was I said, can you at least tell me if it's someone established or not? Because I was just saying that's always my big thing, right? With Marvel, sometimes I get a little bummed when it's this guy's directed 2 music videos. And maybe as a style, maybe as a pitch, but we've seen enough from Marvel now. Okay, we just need someone to come in here and shoot this thing. And maybe they get a career, maybe something happens. But I at least like when someone has a style because it gets me more excited for that film. I was told that, hey, there is an established guy, talent guy here, a person. They didn't even tell me guy, but just an established director. I thought, great. Did not know we were going to get this established of a director. So James Mangold, Nikki says Edgar Wright would be an interesting choice for one of the DC films. I wonder if DC will pitch the Daniels too. That would be wild. Daniels, I think they have a first look deal with somebody, so they could pitch him, but I think they're busy after everything overall. I think they're going to do the original stuff. And Edgar, maybe, but I almost just feel like the comic book stuff is maybe passed and by. But I wouldn't turn down Nikita. I loved Last Lion so hard. That's my favorite film of his. So it's probably like my minority thing to say, but no, I loved that film, and it's my favorite one. But yeah, boy, did we ever get a director named James Mangold. People know, if you're a longtime listener, you know how I feel about Mangold. He gave us in my opinion, it's tough for me to say easily, but for me, it's number one. I still have this thing where with DCA, I always go back and forth between the Dark Knight and the Batman. There's times where I go, oh, the Batman's my favorite one, but I think Dark Knight's still the best one. And there's times where I still go, Dark Knight's probably still my favorite movie. It's tough, right? But with Logan, I can argue Spider-Verse, I can argue, Endgame, Infinity War, Black Panther. But with that one, I still feel pretty certain that, it's Days of Future Past, Deadpool. But I can pretty much argue for myself that it's Logan. I feel like with a bullet, the best Marvel movie, anything, Marvel Studios, Marvel, MCU, whatever you want to call it, it's Logan. Not by far, but by a good margin where I'm comfortable saying that. Mangold did that. And I really like the Wolverine as well. He was trying to do something. The radar cut's a little bit better. He's trying to do something that felt like the studio really cut him out for the knees as you need a big ending. If you look in that movie, that's kind of what happened. They wanted a big comic book fight ending thing, right? So I feel like with Logan, they really got to let him go. And he showed it. And the guy's just a talent. Ford and Ferrari, I liked enough. Night and Day, I'm a big fan of. What else did he do recently, too? I know he's working on that Bob Dylan movie. There's another one in between all this that I love, and I hopefully love Indy. Mangold, that is a top tier choice. That is a choice to me, like laying the dick on the table and saying like, hey, we got fucking James Mangold doing Swamp Thing. Now, I've heard this, well, he hasn't done horror before. That's true. He has not done horror before, but he's a guy that I trust enough that he will knock it out of the park. I think he'll get people that will help him with that. And even then, it might just be like, I want to do a horror movie. And if he's talking James Gunn, like, what's a horror character? And if it's like, hey, well, what about Swamp Thing? Or he's like, hey, I'd like to take a crack at Swamp Thing. It's one of these characters I don't think like all the eyes are on Swamp Thing, right? So it's like a good testing ground. And if it works, yeah, 310 Yuma, that's another good one on the game. But if it works, then it's like, man, now Mangold has a thing in horror, or maybe he's always wanted to do horror and he's waiting for an opportunity, and that's awesome because now we could get all these ideas out of his head. So it's not one of those like maybe there's other directors if it was their first time doing a horror movie I would worry, but just not with Mangold because just everything he touches, I feel like he's always a good I feel like he's always at least a 7, but I'd almost say probably at least an 8. All films like an 8 out of 10 or higher, and that's a great barometer to have. So I think that great choice. This gets me super excited. And what happened was he posted a picture day after of just Swamp Thing. So it's like, okay, what's going on here? And then James Gunn retweeted it. And then like Hollywood Reporter's like, we've heard that Mangold's in early discussions. Yeah, no shit. No shit, he's in early discussions. Like James Gunn just fucking retweeted it. Like I could report that and been right. So No, fantastic. And like I said before in the past topic, if an Affleck does happen and then Mangold happens, you're getting quite the roster already of just talent where I'm excited to see Affleck's Brave and the Bold. I would be excited to see Muschietti's, hopefully Supergirl if Flash is good. But everything here about Flash is great. And Muschietti, I think, is a good director. I didn't love it Chapter 2, but I still liked it. And Mangold, man, that'd be fantastic. So big win for that. But as I was talking about, there's a little thing that leaked this week. Sent to me from someone that somebody took a picture of the inside of the room that they are in to show like the slate. And we knew the slate, but they had it specifically laid out. And of course, there's been lots of jokes about like, man, they really have no budget whatsoever. It's not that. They're just using comic book logos. I do agree there was some funny tweet from someone I follow about like, yeah, they're in the trenches. Look at just where they are. And the room room doesn't look the greatest, but that's fine. It's just some presentation room. You don't need to have a big wine and dine meal for this. So this image came out and it literally has the bullet points of boom, 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 and stuff like that. So this is to give you a good like year barometer as far as the way it's going. Because Creature Commandos, we had heard about that, right? Being the first thing. That's and I don't want to show it. If someone's gonna ask me to show it, I can't because it might be illegal to show and the stream gets taken down. We get a copyright claim and it's a whole bunch of stuff. So on the slate, I'll just tell you project by project. So we don't know that this is 2024, 2025, but Creature Commandos, that's the first thing. We know that, right? And then it shows Superman Legacy. So I'm basing the rest of these off of the date we have for Superman Legacy to get the date of these. So Superman Legacy comes out in 2025, okay? And then the next project after that is Waller. And then the next project after that is the Authority. Now, James Gunn specifically said that Superman leads into the Authority. I think they just kind of lead in one way or another. It's not going to be like Superman's there to fight the Authority. But I feel like this is where they did a whole, let's see, the Hero Reforged guys did a good job with the slate presentation. Oh yeah, no, Adam Halabic did a great job. And I'm a fan of them. I don't get to listen to as many podcasts. I used to listen to them when they were Superhero Hype, I think they were. And then they went over to some Twitch channel I can't remember. I like Hector Navarro a lot. He's very talented, like very knowledgeable guy. I like all those three guys. I was a big fan of them, Schmodown and Screen Junkies and stuff. But yeah, Hero Reforged, Adam made a good graphic, but this was the actual graphic from the room, and this is where the bullet points. It wasn't just like, oh, here's the projects. They were listed the same way where Superman's at the beginning, and they said, oh, Swamp Thing's going to close it off. Swamp Thing's the last thing in this list, so I feel like this list is pretty what we're going to get. So if we get Superman in 2025, Hyper RPG, thank you very much, S-Bubs. Yeah, that's where they were. And like I said, I knew them from Superhero Hype. I'd met them through, like, not met them. I've interacted with them a few times on Twitter, but it was through, I was a big Screen Junkies fan, big Movie Fights fan back in the day. I met a lot of people through there as far as just like podcasters I followed, and then Schmodown happened and everything. But so if you look at those bookends, and to me, you got Superman in July and the Batman in October. I really don't think they're fitting another superhero or DC project in there, right? Waller, that's potential for I could see Superman Legacy happening in 25 and Waller still happening. Maybe there's a chance we get that in 24 and this graph's wrong because things can change. There could be delays. There can be a bunch of stuff, right? But it is after Superman. So I'm for right now going to assume that Waller is in, in 2025. Because then if we're saying, and here's the, or 2020, 2025. Yeah. So here's the interesting thing. Superman's 2025. I know I've said that a lot, but trust me, we're getting there. The Batman comes out in 2025 in October. So I don't see them putting any more DC movies out. So I would assume that, okay, The Authority, which is a movie, that comes out next in the slate after Waller. So that is 2026. Okay. After that is Booster Gold. And this is, like I said, it goes line by line of showing a direction. That's Booster Gold. That's HBO Max. Okay, that makes sense. That can kind of be wherever. This is where it gets interesting. The Brave and the Bold is listed after Booster Gold. And to me, it makes sense because, follow me for a second, after that it goes Brave and the Bold, then it goes Lanterns, and then Supergirl, Swamp Thing, and Paradise Lost. If you look at this list, if Waller, and even if Waller's 2026, you got The Authority and Brave and the Bold, 2 movies, Waller and Booster Gold, 2 shows. They've said 2 shows, 2 movies. The next chunk of this portion is Supergirl and Swamp Thing, 2 movies, Lantern and Paradise Lost, 2 shows. It's matching that. Things can change, shuffle, whatever. And there's probably unannounced projects, right? But if I'm looking at this and we're getting 2 movies a year and this is the way it's going, now there could be something where it's The Authority, Brave and the Bold, and when they unveil more, it's like, there's actually a movie in between. So, okay, but let's just go off this graph. what makes me so interested and what we're going to really play the game as far as experimental things going on here. This would make it seem that the Batman happens in 2025, and according to this, the Brave and the Bold is a tentative 2026. We literally could be living in a world where less than a year, or at least a year, where we get two separate Batman movies. I'd say solo movies still, even though it's Batman Robin, still a solo Batman movie and a solo the Batman movie. And I'm very curious because they could just both come out, kill it, do well, and it's like, well, people love Batman, so that's why. Or could one suffer because, hey, we just got Batman, it's confusing? I don't think so. I think if it's good and people want to see it, and tons of people probably just still think that's Robert Pattinson's Batman. Oh, he's a Robin now. Cool. I found that very interesting that as right now, according to this graph, it looks like it's a tentative 2026. Now, again, they don't actually have a date there. So this is just me assuming, but I'm assuming from the way it's laid out how it would go. And I think that's very interesting I always pitched that at least 2 years. I thought 2 years would be a good, hey, the Batman comes out 2027, you get Brave and the Bold, and then 28, 29, you get the Batman Part 3 and stuff like that, right? So I don't know. And like I said, these dates could shift, all that good jazz, but we'll see. I found that slate very interesting. So let's take another ad break, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. So on the game, you say 2025 stacked. Yeah, we talked about recently last week. F4, King Dynasty, Legacy, Batman Part 2. If they all come out, yeah, man. And there's other stuff I think also in that year too. But that is and because I think we'd be getting Daredevil boarding in at that time. Want both MCU and DC projects to be 4 projects of max, 2 shows a year, 2 movies, 1 project each quarter. I agree with that. It's tough because there was a graph of the MCU projects coming out, and I'm fine. I'll take them all. I'll be happy. But it's like it's 15 projects in 2 years, and it's like even when I'm talking about slowing down, it's like that is a lot. That's a lot. That's I would say too much as far as like workload on people. But speaking of the MCU, so there's been this is like kind of a conglomeration of rumors and stuff like that. But I will bring up it's mostly just My Time to Shine. Very rarely does like Q&As, but she did one, and there's some other rumors that bounce off of these and everything like that. But so I'm gonna go down. This is like a Marvel like a roundup rumor, just talking about some random ones. So this is where it's interesting. She said again, Adam Driver is indeed for the running Reed Richards. And you can check Marvel Alliance. They checked out this whole, there's a Reddit thread of a leaker and stuff like that that said the opposite, where, hey, he's not for that, he's for Doom. And then you had Casey Walsh say, hey, well, and a tweet that wasn't supposed to be shared, but there's been no interest from a Driver in this role. And even with like, he doesn't want to do a franchise, just like I said, they're looking for a person of color for Reed. And so there's all this stuff, right? The Driver things begins just like a swirl of what is happening, what's not happening. I don't know. But what was I gonna say? I don't think it's gonna go down either way. I think he's just been talked about too much that they've had some meetings with him, and I do think that you're going to get Adam Driver in the MCU or DCU at some point. There's too much smoke this fire. He's having conversations. The best route I think it's going to be for Driver is either a voice. People keep talking about a voice for Galactus. I think he would be perfect as that, or Silver Surfer. But there's rumors. It's tough. Yeah, only if there's rumors Gosling is Sentry. But then there's been rumors that he's Silver Surfer. So it's all over the map. There's lots of scoopers getting wrong or mixed information or a version of the truth. But to me, Adam Driver, I think he is a Jake Gyllenhaal type, a one and done villain, some important role, but that's it. And I think it's going to happen. I don't know which side, but you'd not hope, but you'd think that Marvel, because he's part of the Disney family, he's already supposedly talking to them, so it might make sense that, hey, down the line, we're going to get him a role that he likes to one done. Bale in Thor Love and Thunder, right? Stuff like that. So the other contender that has come out this past week is Dev Patel, which is very interesting. And my favorite pick from all of them, even more than Driver, even though I think Driver would be the best because I think Driver's the best actor in the world. As far as the reason I like other picks is because I can see Driver do other things. With Dev Patel, I think other than Penn Badgley, who that to me is still like, when I heard that, I'm like, this is a fantastic, no pun intended, rewatch. Still think he's the best choice, but offset, I don't think that's happening. People said that's kind of out, or that might have been early on. Put Penn aside, I think Dev is probably my favorite one I've heard so far. And again, even if I had to choose, I'd probably still choose Adam Driver because like I know I'd get a great Reed Richards and he would pull off everything. But Dev Patel, especially if you go watch something like The Green Knight, I think that that's a perfect example of someone being trying to be heroic, but also being a I don't know, selfish douchebag at times. And you go from cheering him to hating him very quickly in scenes. And I feel like that's what you want for Reed Richards. So and there's been a lot of people saying he's the top choice. He's the top contender right now. So Dev Patel, absolutely. I put my stamp on approval on that one, that that's true. And like I said, these are why there's like other like little rumors and stuff going around right now. And there's multiple people reporting that he's the top choice. So I would be very happy with that. More than Diego, more than a couple other people who have all been good names. All lists of rumors have been good names. Film Odyssey had put out that they're going to be casting a Miles Morales for Spider-Man 4. Glover's kind of unknown his situation, but it's like, okay, I'm down for that. Miles has to happen, has to get set up. So sure, get it. All that matters is the same thing as Holland. I trust them. It comes down to casting that. You got to get a good kid, someone very talented. So Cat 4 is indeed a mini Avengers film like Civil War, which I've been saying for a bit, right? Like I said, my whole thing is just don't lose Sam. Don't lose Sam in the process. Still give him arc, still give him a story. I know people always say Avengers or Civil War is Avengers 2.5. It is in a sense, but I still think C. Rogers gets a story there. Same thing as Sam. I want him to have a story. I don't want it just to be a big setup. This is a rumor that's been going around for multiple people. The F cast will be announced before D23. And then this one just said Ryan Gosling has nothing to do with it. Pat Badgley's not on the running, stuff like that. This is a one that I was very happy about. And we've heard this a few times. Midnight Suns is indeed a movie. Them and Ghost Rider coming soon. Check out SideQuest this week. We'll be talking about some Midnight Suns. Very excited about that because great DLC and the game's fantastic. But I'm just ready for more of the monster stuff. Between Multiverse of Madness and Werewolf by Night, I've been really digging them, starting to get into, and I like that supernatural side of the Marvel universe. So great, let's do that. She says, well, she'd see Shuri next in the Avengers, so she's non-Cat 4, which I didn't even know. That's the way these rumors have been moving so rapid nowadays, that I didn't know there was rumors that she was going to be in Cat 4. So there you go. And it makes sense. I guess we got two Panthers, I guess, kind of now where they haven't shown us this, but M'Baku did become the king of Wakanda. I imagine he'd get some Panther-like powers with a synthetic herb, and then he got Shuri, so that'll be fun. I like Shuri. Obviously, Letitia Wright is a controversial figure at times, and I don't agree with a lot of the things she's put forward, but she's a great actress, and they are vested in the character of Black Panther, so okay, sure, she becomes Avenger. I'm excited to see the different combinations they could have with her and other team members and stuff like that. MCU Phase 6, God and Monsters. Absolutely, let's bring it on, before we get to those mutants and stuff like that, I suppose. Let's see. I would I want to see a bearded Raul Kula, aka Midnight Mass. I would like that too. I just don't think he's all we've heard so far from Scuba saying, hey, they're going after high profile people, and all the names we've heard rumored are high profile people. I like Raul a lot, and I think he'd be great, but I don't think he's high profile enough, unfortunately. Another one that this has been mixed of, Wanda solo film in development. We've heard people say no, it could be a series, to no, it's not happening at all. You might not see her till Kang Dynasty, to there's a solo film. I don't know. There's still some slots obviously in these phases that have not been filled yet. That could be one of them. She could return somewhere. I'm down. I think she could maybe get another side character they might add to, but I think Elizabeth Olsen and the character Scarlet Witch have earned it. I think they're a big enough star now, both the actress and the character again. So I'm waving the flag that this should definitely happen. This needs to happen. I think that Olsen can deliver a film, and I think that character is the most popular it's ever been. I feel like the Iron to Strike was right after WandaVision. They use that for Doctor Strange to almost get them to $1 billion, but even though I feel like there are people with Multiverse Madness like myself that feel mixed on Wanda's writing, and yes, I understood that she had the Darkhold and stuff like that, but I don't think they did a good job of trying. I think they won their cake and eating it too. They tried to make her be like possessed like Hawkeye, but also like, no, it's a villain like Thanos where we see her reasoning. It's like, nah, you kind of, in my opinion, have to pick one or the other and stuff like that. So what was I gonna say? Jessica Jones, the Punisher are on board again. Foggy and Bullseye maybe are. No word on Karen Page, Luke Cage, Karen Page, and Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Iron Fist isn't happening. Maybe Jessica Henwick will come back as Calling Wing. I've seen people hint about that. That'd be great. Luke Cage, don't think that's happening. As always, I think Michael Coulter was great, but I feel like he didn't give a definitive take where people are like, I can't see anyone but Michael Coulter in it. Yeah, Karen Page and Foggy. It's interesting that Foggy's maybe. I am surprised that they're even so far they haven't been announced. Nothing's come out yet, and maybe that's the point. Maybe it has to be announced. But I've been very surprised of the lack of those two, and I don't love the actor that plays Foggy. I think he's good enough, and Karen I really like. Get her away though, because I don't want her to break up Jen and Matt, even though they're not dating. They're just seeing each other, so I have to probably get ready for a born again love interest. But no, if you were gonna bring them back. They all had good chemistry, so it is interesting the fact we haven't heard about. But again, we don't know the story, right? So there is a chance of the Amazing Spider-Man getting made, and it's funny because in film Odyssey kind of followed up on that. I think Ember did as well, where um that apparently at the end of last year they met again with Andrew Garfield, and the Amazing Spider-Man 3 thing's very iffy, but cameos and small roles in other films, that's like a go. And again, classic Sony to like drop the bag here if this doesn't happen. And like I said, if there's some sort of rule, I've said this before, where hey, while we're a partner, you can't make another solo Spider-Man, I get it then. But if there's not, and to me, you give not carte blanche, but to me, you kind of go, what do you want to do? Like, what would you be comfortable with doing? And I still think it's not going to fight Venom. I don't think Andrew Garfield wants to do that if you look where he is in his career. And I just think Sony, if they're going, hey, what do you want to do? And he says, oh, I want to do this thing. Go, nah, let's not do that. It's like capitalize again, like the one thing. Capitalize. The time to capitalize was you get them in a room, like No Way Home comes out January, February. The promos start to come out, posters start to come out. They do interviews, all three of them. The time, if you could do Amazing Spider-Man 3, was to talk to him. What do you want to do? Great. Let's find a very close variation of that. There might be some differences, but let's do that. Let's get him signed. Boom. In the middle of No Way Home hype. And that's why in Marvel Alliance, one of my predictions was they would announce it last year, and they didn't. During the hype of No Way Home, capitalize on that. Go, hey, you like the Andrew Spec? We're doing another film with him. And it's just like, nothing. Quiet on the waterfront or whatnot, right? So Sony's worse than DC and Star Wars and Marvel by far. They're just dropping the bag left, right, and center. Agatha plays an important role in Phase 5, which, okay, sure, I could see that. And then she just said, like, Chris Evans returning as Captain America and stuff like that, which is like, yeah, no shit. I've been saying that since Endgame and stuff like that. I think there's a chance he comes back as Johnny Storm, and there's a chance he gets to come back as Captain America, because Johnny Storm will just be lots of fun, and Captain America, they set up an in-world way for him to come back with that time machine, right? Or like making people into a baby to a young person, stuff like that. And cool, I'm down. I'm fine. He got a great send off, but the characters can always come back. He still got to live that life, right? He still got to live that life with Peggy, and she passed away or whatnot. Now he comes back to, save his friend's life and stuff like that, right? So I'm all down with and stuff like that. So yeah, some fun little rumors. Nothing crazy. Check out Marvel Alliance. They cover a lot of the Fantastic Four ones that have come out, and they've said pretty similar things that I did. Like there's some. I think there's some rumor going around like Keanu and Dennis Quaid for Galactus, and it's like, what a waste of Keanu. Even Johnny Blaze is better for Keanu. That would be, to me, a waste and kind of funny. So we will see. So the other thing is, geeks that are not wrestling fans, now's your time to bow out. We're going to talk about a little WrestleMania rumors just quickly and stuff like that. So WrestleMania is coming around the corner. Obviously, I talked about the Royal Rumble a couple weeks ago, where had a great storyline with Roman and Sammy, just like wrestling cinema, right? And great success Royal Rumble, biggest gate they had. That clip did like millions of play, even on Friday when they had Sami Zayn come back and spear Roman Reigns. Roman gets upper hand. That clip in like a day did like 20 or 16 or 20 million, stuff like that. All this is super successful, right? And there's a few other things I'll talk about with WrestleMania, but now this debate keeps happening of, hey, do you not do Cody versus Roman? Do you do Sami and Roman, or do you do them both from one night here, one night there? And it's so funny because I just keep feeling like I'm on the other side of this, where back in the day, I was full on Daniel Bryan's the guy. It's not Batista. He could be the face of the company, where I am on the other side, where I don't think Sami Zayn could be the face of the company. And to me, Cody Rhodes, he's primed to be the face of the company. It's his time to take the fucking ball and lead this place, I think. And that's a different where I did not think that was the way of Batista. Did not think that was what's going to happen there. So that's a whole different story. They're comparable, but they're not. And the other way they're not comparable is there's been tons of this on Twitter and whatnot, and people point this out, where people have been like, if Cody keeps cutting these type of promos, the crowd's gonna turn on him. All this stuff, where it feels like there's a portion of wrestling Twitter, which I don't like to talk about Twitter as far as like the movies and Twitter, or like in wrestling and comic books, because it's like that's just a portion of people, because that's the same point that since he's been back, he's been cheered. He didn't get booed at the Rumble, he didn't get booed at Raw. I think there's a great way to tell the story of Roman versus Sami at the main event. And I get it, right? It is kind of maybe unfortunate timing, where people go, hey, you can't have, look at this hot bit, one of the best angles of wrestling, period. And it's just going to end up in Sami Zayn in a tag title match. But at the same time, people give shit for WWE for not sticking to a plan and not having long-term booking. And for me, it's like, Sami in that match, to me, they're going to have Jay Scrum at Elimination Chamber, and that's the heat is going to hopefully transfer over. But I think the majority of the crowd is still ready for Cody to have that story, because Cody can have that story of, hey, I'm going to be the one to finally take down this bully, this guy that's holding this title hostage. And the story of while Cody was gone, Roman just got higher. Cody went somewhere else, became a bigger star for himself, created a company, and now he's back. And he's back to beat and verse Roman Reigns, whatever you want to say. It's a very interesting, like that story, the Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. Yes, that story is fantastic. Not saying Cody and Roman can match that on a storyline perspective, but from a history perspective, the Reigns and Cody main event just feels perfect for this time. Cody does nothing for me. Love Sami Zayn though. Yeah, I guess like if you feel that way, you do feel that way. For me, I'm much like other people, where I'm a big Cody Rhodes guy. I think it makes sense story-wise. I think he's ready to take the ball and run with it. And to me, of course, eventually the fans could turn on him because there's be a shinier thing, right? But they do that with everybody. There was this clip last week of he was on Raw and he's walking by the arena and they're walking down the stage and there's two kids like dressed in his outfit and he takes off his belt and gives it to him. I like the heroes that are anti-heroes and shades of gray and whatnot, but I do like having a guy that is just the hero, and maybe that eventually makes people turn on him. And there's been reports in the past that he kind of, in AEW, when he was getting that John Cena-like reaction, he was kind of like trying to egg that on and stuff. And again, this is the reason Cody does something for me, is because I felt he was completely right when he was back there years ago, that he made so much games work, and he was on a level, and they should have put him in event status, never did, gave him Stardust, and he left. And you go to that last promo he did in AEW, everything that CM Punk said he would do, Cody Rhodes did it. And the creation of AEW is one of the biggest things ever for the wrestling business, especially just for like talent and people getting an option and getting money elsewhere. So Cody for me is much more like a personal thing. It's like, I know people have said this before, the joke is like Cody either has 5-star matches or like 2-star matches. Like it's a very 50-50. And I get that to a point, but to me, Cody Rhodes has like a very similar, like that's what I like what Roman's been doing lately. I like that. To me, that's why I love Kenny Omega and the Elite, is they have some of the best stories in the ring. And I think that Roman versus Cody WrestleMania, that story that they tell together is going to be fantastic. So I get the idea. I get why people are still maybe upset that Sami's not going to be the main event, but I don't see it changing. I do always go when they get those YouTube like numbers, I go, wow, that's a lot. Like that, how do you not do it? But at the same time, I think again, what sells WrestleMania more, even for a GA person, is, Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns. Now, for us, it's a great story, and the wrestling community, but does it catch on with the GA or the son of Dusty Rhodes and the story of the guy that created AEW and did all these things? I feel like that it sells to the GA a bit more. So I'm very excited for that match. That graphic came out. I don't think they're changing it. And people have talked about the triple threat. Like, I guess you could, but then that just gets even more monkey. Like, to me, if it's you do a triple threat, then just find a way to do Sami and Roman at WrestleMania, because that's what people want, right? They want like the Daniel Bryan thing, but it's just like, I feel like that puts Cody in an awkward position. I think that kind of puts Roman in an awkward position. I think you do it down the line, but for this, I don't think it like fixes the situation. I think the story for Cody and Roman should be 1-on-1, and the story for Roman and Sammy should be 1-on-1. So we'll see. And then there's the other rumors going around right now is the 3 matches are like the Seth Rollins and Paul Logan, which I've talked about. I don't know what that promo that Rollins, I'm saying promo, but like the questions he was answering on his Instagram space, or I don't know what the fuck they are. I have Instagram, but whatever. I don't use it. Like I have just for GeekVerse, not a personal one. He was making it seem like he didn't really want to work with Logan Paul. Now that could be in character, but Seth has been known to publicly say things in those Instagram chats, stuff like that, that are just real life true. And I said this too, where the reason I just kind of believe it is I just feel like you'll have like some of these other matches come up. We'll talk about maybe just one, like Cena and Austin Theory. Like Austin Theory is getting a highlight here. You're gonna get Roman and Cody Rhodes. You're gonna get Owens and Cody going for the titles. Obviously, the women matches don't affect him because he's not a woman, but I just feel like Rollins maybe feels like he's gonna be being left out again and just getting a like all right match. Last year he got a big profile match, but he still to lose it, and you know the past few years he's just getting a lot of grudge matches. I don't know. It's I I don't know how happy I would be. The only thing I tell yourself is it gives yourself like a rub from social media and media and stuff like that. So there's that. But Rollins has said this before, where he feels like lots of times he just gets passed over, and I feel like he's kind of getting passed over again. But also, I just don't know what the spot is. I know it could be United States title, and I guess that's all right. But I feel like that's not good enough for him. The other match was Austin Theory versus Cena. That was rumored months ago, and then kind of died. And seems like it's back. It seems like it's like pretty much locked. I don't know. I'm mixed on Austin Theory. Sometimes I see the stardom, and other times I go, is is it really there? I know the joke is like because he looks like Cena, that's why he's being pushed. But it's like, is he really there to be a tippy top guy? But all the changes they've done with him in this run, when they got rid of the cell phone, he's a bit more serious. I think those all Triple H changes. Fantastic, because I hated this. I feel like he was talented, but the gimmick of having the phone, the selfie, that's so outdated. I get people are still taking selfies, but it's just like you can't get over with this thing truly. And luckily, they did have him ditch that. So I get it. I think Austin Theory will beat him in the star making one if that's the case. And okay, they feel they got a star in Austin Theory, so let's see what they can do. I Again, if I were to get Cena back, is that who I'd want? Not necessarily. And I know there's actually rumors at one point of Cody versus Cena. And if Rock was around, Cody versus Cena would be very interesting. But I'd have to look at the roster because you might be like, oh, well, you don't want to wrestle Austin Theory, but you have nobody. So yes, of course. And there's other people he's already wrestled before. So if he's gonna wrestle somebody, a newer star, fine. I think Cena will make the feud interesting to per se. And Austin Theory, that's his chance to bring it then, right? And there's a chance Theory and Cena like main event the thing. If Cena and Theory get this, that they look at him a top guy, and that's Theory's time to deliver. The lights will be on him, they'll be on bright, and Cena doesn't wrestle much anymore. So if he's back to wrestle you, everyone's gonna be watching. And then the other one that's like a lot. Well, there's two things that are locked, I guess, is that apparently there's gonna be like another like a promotional match, like the Mountain Dew match, but apparently it's Cinnamon Toast Crunch. All I ask is the Mountain Dew match did not work. What they should do is how last year you had Sami Zayn and Johnny Knox from Jackass kind of have like a comedic match. Do that. Get two people that could pull off a comedic match with a Cinnamon Toast Crunch match, and do that. Because I don't know how you could even make that serious. The Mountain Dew Pitch Black thing was already funny enough, but that's my opinion. Do that. Find two comedic wrestlers or tag teams, throw them in that, get your money. Because apparently they made $1 million off the Mountain Black match or whatever. It's like, hey, that $1 million pays for some big star's contract appearance, so it's worth it. It just did not work well for the story. And then finally, the rumor thing they got Ronda doing is they have, and I guess I can talk on this too because the Rhea thing happened. They have Ronda and Shayna Baszler penciled into versus Io Sky and Dakota Kai. I'm of two minds of this, where the fan of me goes good because I don't think the work that I've seen of Ronda since she's been back deserves one of those bigger matches. But then the business side of me goes, is that like how you want to use Ronda Rousey for WrestleMania, just in this team title match? And I feel like the return of investment they've gone from Ronda this go round has not been there. Like I feel like no one talks about. There's no hype. There's maybe some like promo issues, this and that with the first run, but you felt there was a storm there. And I feel like she was booked differently, booked better, and there's something that I could give Vince credit over Triple H, but there's still like an aura around her. She's completely lost all that, especially since losing the title, all that, and the promos this year have not been good. They should have got her the manager or something. So I guess like that's fine that you get Ronda on the card, but it's just such like a nothing spot, I feel. But here's the thing. Why does it feel like a nothing spot? Because Triple H has tried. Even his first few months, I feel like that was some of his first mistakes. Is the way of the booking of the women's team title after Sasha and Trinity left. But why does it feel like a nothing spot? Because those titles feel like nothing. They need something. They need some energy, and maybe putting them on a big star that they've used a big star, paying lots of money, could give it that energy of like let's really book this division. Good stories, good feuds, good matches. The matches are more that's up to the ladies, and I trust them to deliver. But it's a weird pairing, and I could just see a lot of people taking it as like a bathroom break, and no, not to be like, oh, because the women wrestling. No, it's just because I don't think there's much intrigue with any of those pairings, but we'll see. And then because like I don't know what they're doing with the women's main title matches, because to me it threw a complete ripple as far as hey, and yeah, all in the game, you're right. Other women could get a benefit and attention that Ronda gets or Rousey gets. Yes, and that was my thing. Of I thought you were trying to say that they would get a rub. Now, technically, yeah, those other girls like Io and Dakota, they'd get some popular, like some again media because oh, this is what Ronda's doing for WrestleMania. For me, why I don't exactly agree with your statement all in the game, but I do now is the first run. I think she proved her money's worth. That she got a lot of attention, but she sold merch. She got headlines and like ESPN and stuff like that before WWE's really being covered. This go around, it's felt like the attention has not helped. It's felt like it's not gone anywhere. And that's the point where if she's not making good use of time, you could go, yeah, it should go to maybe some other people. But we'll see. But yeah, what kind of threw a monkey wrench into my system here is myself, many go back to my Rumble review. I thought 100% Charlotte, Rio is going to pick Bianca for the title match. And I don't know if this is because they don't want Bianca to lose it yet, which could be because you could easily like, we don't want her to lose, but we want Rhea to be champion. Well, luckily we have another title, right? Um, I started getting like a little worried when she had said it in the interview, like the press conference of, hey, well, I've never been in Charlotte before. And even though it was just like the Monday after, I feel like there was like there was like another interview she had done with somebody post that. And I think once or twice it came up again, like, but I've never been in Charlotte. I was like, okay, something's happening here. And the way that Bianca right now is, I don't think she's as hot as Rhea as far as like the popularity going right now, but Bianca still great, still one of the top dogs, and I feel like she has more going for her, just energy and momentum than Charlotte, who just came back on the title and she's waiting for WrestleMania match. I could see that Bianca versus somebody, you can get that energy, and Bianca can carry that to like and not just the carry, because it could be someone else good, but that can be a story that's almost like trying to knock out Bianca. Where Charlotte right now, and I still think is the best women's wrestler in the world, probably of all time, doesn't really have much fire right now, right? She's just kind of back, and that's where the Rhea storyline makes that the fire. So I understand it from that perspective. I just feel like it would have been really cool for the men's title match to be Roman and Cody, two like current stars, and then like and I say Rhea and Bianca. It's not that Charlotte's not a current star, right? I guess it's just more of the new blood, and that's what I was kind of wanting. And I just wanted Bianca and Rhea to have that on the big stage, but also Bianca and Rhea. It's also you could probably do at any point, giving no bad injuries or no one leaves, right? So I understand that perspective as well, and I understand the storyline. It's a great story that Rhea's never beat Charlotte, right? She's beat her for a title twice, or something like that, or she's been a part of the loss twice. Yeah, because it was twice she beat her for the title. And that year when they had the fucking WrestleMania and the not even just the PC with nobody in the crowd and stuff like that, that WrestleMania, it's a weird thing. I know everyone talks about the Boneyard match. To me, Charlotte and Rhea had the best match that weekend. great chemistry those ladies have together. So I know it's gonna they're gonna kill it. And I'd actually love it if this means Rhea gets the main event WrestleMania because Charlotte's like the biggest star, which I think she is, but I think they have her at such a bigger like scale. Then I'm completely down because I think that last year, Stone Cold versus Kevin Owens, there's no way you can't have that main event, and then you already had Roman and Brock, which fuck that. Never want to see that again. And I didn't even think that should have main evented because it just was like the most disappointing one of their matches. But I understood it. I would like if it was one night's the women, one night's the men. And to me, a Rhea versus Charlotte, that is a main event worthy one you can do. And at the end of the day, like if people were like, oh, would Rhea be a big enough star to main event WrestleMania? It's like that place is gonna be sold out no matter what. That's why I like the Cody and Roman thing is instead of like Roman versus The Rock or Stone Cold. The building sells on WrestleMania, but you make the main event the newer stars. Why? Because in a year or two, people won't go like, who's Rhea Ripley? They'll go, oh, right, she's the one that closed out Mania and won a title and was a big showcase. So in years later, if she main events again with a Bianca or something, she's already a bigger star. That's why you need like young talent. And they would do that when it was Rock with Cena and, Roman with Brock and Triple H. But that was the problem. They were only doing one of the equation, only raising one person up at a time in these main events. Raise them both up, and that's where, like Charlotte, like Bianca and Rhea would have liked even more. But Bianca there's so many names. Charlotte and Rhea, I still like it. I still can't complain because I know Rhea is something good, and that is still like two newer talent. But Charlotte's acts in like the main event way. I guess it's tough to say Charlotte's newer talent, but in the way of it's not a part-timer. It's not, you don't need Trish Stratus to come back or something like that. So all the game says Bianca, Rhea, Charlotte, Raquel could not get into some great few matches between those four heavyweights. Could you not get in some, are you saying could I yeah, absolutely. Raquel, I think she's still, I'm not trying to sound like a classic wrestling man, like she needs to turn heel. I don't think that. I think she just needs a bit of a character tweak. I don't think she's exactly meshed on the main roster yet, but she's very talented. But yeah, I don't know what they do with Bianca. Austin's getting a big showcase right now. They're still doing Becky and Bayley, but they're about to do the cage match. So it's like, that feels like it's coming to an end. So I really don't know. An Oscar versus Bianca would be good. Don't get me wrong. The match actually would be fucking phenomenal. I don't know story-wise, but I do like that they've brought the Kano, side of Asuka back. So yeah, so those are some confirmed ones, or like rumored confirms one, but still got a long way. Still got some who's going to be in the Cinnamon Toast Crunch match. Who knows? But thank you to everyone that tuned in the live chat. And thank you to everyone that's going to be listening after this. Go check out the live review or the Last of Us review that's on the feed right now. And promise when you hear from next, which at least will be in a couple weeks from Trez Told You, it'll not be boring.